These individuals have committed heinous crimes that have shocked society and left a trail of devastation in their wake. From notorious serial killers to powerful drug lords and terrorists, their actions have earned them a reputation that invokes fear and intrigue. Jason Barnum. Jason Barnum became known as Eyeball, and it's not hard to see why. Barnum's right eye is tattooed black, and he has an eyeball tattooed on his forehead. A serial burglar, Barnum was found hiding in a hotel in 2012 and opened fire on 2 police officers, wounding one. He was subsequently arrested and sentenced to 22 years in prison in 2015. His charges included attempted murder as well as car theft and burglary. He claimed to have been doing so to fund his addiction to illicit substances. If nothing else, the eyeball definitely has a distinctive look. Joseph James DeAngelo, most recognized as the Golden State Killer. Joseph James DeAngelo is the perpetrator of an alarming amount of crimes. In fact, Golden State was the 9th pseudonym awarded to him by the media. Between 1974 and 1986, DeAngelo murdered 13 people, assaulted over 50 women, and committed around 120 burglaries. After 1986, the case went cold and remained so for some time, until genetic genealogy and incriminating DNA evidence led to DeAngelo's 2018 arrest at the age of 72. Surinder Kohli. Between 2005 and 2006, the city of Noida, India was subject to missing children cases which were greatly overlooked by local authorities, despite mounting pressure from parents. In 2006, Noida businessman Maninder Singh Panner and his servant Surinder Kohli were arrested on charges of murdering a sex worker. Upon digging for those remains, investigators found numerous younger remains as well. Kohli confessed to multiple murders among other heinous actions. There were over 19 victims. Kohli was sentenced to death on 13 counts of murder, a sentence which is still pending. It was determined by courts that Panner wasn't involved in the murders, but he did get 7 years in prison for soliciting sex workers. Joanna Dennehy. In 2013, Joanna Dennehy stabbed 3 men to death in Cambridgeshire, England, and stabbed 2 more elsewhere who survived. The 3 murder victims were known to Dennehy, while the surviving 2 were completely random men walking their dogs. All were premeditated attacks, and Dennehy had allegedly planned to commit 9 murders in total. Charles Cullen. Medical professional serial killers are often referred to as angels of death or mercy. It's an odd nickname, as they're far from angels. In 1986, Charles Cullen graduated from nursing school. He worked at a number of New Jersey and Pennsylvania hospitals in his 16 years as a nurse, during which he administered lethal doses of various substances to multiple patients. He was finally arrested in 2003, and it was determined that he had officially killed 29 patients and possibly caused hundreds more deaths or complications. Robert Maudsley. British serial killer Robert Maudsley was charged with 3 counts of murder and 1 of manslaughter committed between 1974 and 1978. All 4 of his victims were alleged or incarcerated offenders themselves. His first victim was a man who solicited Maudsley. His second was a fellow patient at the Broadmoor Psychiatric Hospital, and his last 2 were fellow inmates at Wakefield Prison. Maudsley claimed the only individuals who should fear him are sex offenders. In 1983, it was determined that Maudsley could not reside with the general prison population, and he was transferred to solitary confinement, in which he has been since. He attempted to appeal for some form of in-prison freedom in 2000 but was refused. David Berkowitz. Known as the Son of Sam, David Berkowitz's crime spree started in 1975 when he stabbed 2 women in the Bronx in New York. Between then and 1977, Berkowitz killed a total of 6 people and wounded 11, during which time he sent ominous letters to the NYPD and a daily news journalist. He referred to himself as the Son of Sam in the first letter. He's known for terrorizing the New York City area in the late 70s, as he eluded police despite his multiple attacks before finally being caught in 1977. Jochen Guzman. Former drug lord and Sinaloa cartel leader Jochen Guzman had been involved in cartels since the 1970s. After multiple captures and escapes, he was extradited to the U.S. in 2017 to serve out his sentence, eventually arriving at a supermax prison in Colorado, known as El Chapo. Guzman's rap sheet is too long to list here, but it mostly contains drug trafficking, violence, and the use of hitmen to carry out hundreds of nefarious acts, money laundering, collusion with corrupt government officials, and so on. He escaped in 2001, leading to a 13-year manhunt, only to escape again in 2015 and be recaptured in 2016. He was sentenced to life 30-plus years. Charles Bronson? No, not that Charles Bronson. This one is known for being a violent prisoner more than anything else. Michael Gordon Peterson was given the stage name Charles Bronson, after the American actor, by a promoter during the criminal's short-lived bare-knuckle boxing career in 1987. Bronson had been getting into trouble since his adolescence, joining a group of robbers at 13 years old. He was arrested several times for anything from crashing a stolen truck to burglary to armed robbery. As of 1993, Bronson has remained in custody due to crimes within the prison system. He was transferred a number of times for violence against fellow inmates and prison guards.